Chargers coming off the 19-10 win over Cleveland. Redskins disappointing 38-14 loss in Dallas last Thursday night. Anthony Lynn, what a turnaround it's been, starting his head coaching career at 0-4, but maintained the positive attitude, and the Chargers have responded and right in the thick of things in the AFC West. Chargers also have had 3 straight wins at home. Last time they did that was 2014, a different stadium. We're underway from Carson. And let's check in with the third member of our crew down to the field, Evan Washburn.
Well, and when this Redskins offense does take the field, some good news across their offensive line. Both tackles active and available today, despite some pretty significant injuries. Morgan Moses dealing with that right ankle injury, while Trent Williams dealing with significant enough of a right knee injury. Guys, he's going to need to have off-season knee surgery. How they hold up against this pass rush of the Chargers will be fascinating to watch.
It is a ferocious pass rush for LA as the Chargers open up 1st and 10 at their own 25-yard line. They had 429 yards of offense against Cleveland. On 1st down, Rivers steps up, Rivers throws, it's on time, makes the connection with Tyrell Williams, and a big gain on the first play from scrimmage. He's down at the 41, 34-yard hookup.
Well, Williams is the speed guy. He loves the shallow crosses where he can get into the secondary without any contact as he gets behind Zach Brown there. And a huge way to start for Rivers and the Chargers.
Yeah, this has been an issue for Los Angeles, how they start. Only team in the NFL without points on their opening drive. Melvin Gordon in the backfield, and he'll get the call. Gordon stacked up. Picks up 3 on the play as Zach Brown was in on that hit for Washington. Phillip Rivers has been an Iron Man. 189th consecutive start, the longest active streak in the NFL.
And to your point about not scoring on their first drive, he told us it's important for the Chargers to have a better sense of urgency to start today's game, more aggressive, as we've seen on that bomb to Williams on the first play.
2nd and 7 here for the Chargers. Rivers operating out of the gun. Washington presses the line. Here comes the blitz. Rivers unloads to the outside. Keenan Allen. What a stretch Keenan Allen has put together. One of the best in NFL history for a wide receiver. That's a 6-yard gain. Starting offensive line. Tremendous job protecting Phillip Rivers this year, and that includes Dan Feeney, who has stepped in for the injured Matt Slauson. Feeney's the rookie out of Indiana. The backs and receivers, Hunter Henry, certainly a major weapon for Rivers in his second year, with Gates not seeing as much action in his 15th year. 3rd down and 1. Since week 11, they've been the best 3rd down team in the NFL. Play clock is down to 2. Rivers on 3rd and short. Spins it to the perimeter and hits Tyrell Williams again with Breeland there defensively. It's a 3-yard gain and a new set of downs for Los Angeles. Defensively for Washington in that 3-4 look, they're ranked 19th overall in team defense. Linebackers, Zach Brown currently leading the NFL in tackles, and the secondary, DJ Swearinger, has provided the leadership that they were looking for when they signed him to the 3-year, $13.5 million deal. Gordon makes a cut. And Gordon finally brought down with Anderson and Brown collaborating. It's a 6-yard gain for Melvin Gordon. Yeah, we know what the philosophy is for Anthony Lynn. He's a ground and pound kind of guy, but the Chargers have had the majority of their success through the air.
And he's got the type of running back that can be just perfect for this season in Gordon. Great patience that time to allow the hole to develop and then shoot through it.
This Charger team didn't fold when they started 0-4. Now 6-6. Eckler. And Austin Eckler has provided a nice change of pace for the Chargers. 5-yard gain and a 1st down to Shazer Everett, the tackle.
Well, here's Eckler. He's going to just, again, good patience here, and then good explosion once he finds the hole. Zach Brown gets blocked out of the way.
Eckler, just the idea that he's become a factor is a huge story. Undrafted free agent out of Western State, Colorado. 7th play of the drive, opening series for Los Angeles. On 1st down, give it to Gordon. And Gordon is dropped after the gain of 2 by Ziggy Hood, the 9-year veteran. Washington is 22nd against the run. They're allowing just under 118 yards per game on the ground.
And one of the best things the Chargers have done in this streak, where they've won 6 of 8, is lack of turnovers. Their turnover differential, third best in the league at plus 11.
And Dan, they haven't turned the ball over in 3 straight games. If they don't turn the ball over today, that'll be a new franchise record. 4 consecutive games without a giveaway. 2nd and 8. Eckler releases out of the backfield. They'll go empty here. Rivers, protection is there. Rivers slings it, and he gets Jeff Cumberland involved. Cumberland missed last year with a torn Achilles. He's come back, and they got a lot of tight ends that can contribute to this offense.
Yeah, they suit 4 for each game. That's Cumberland's 2nd catch of the year. No yardage on the play, but he was the outlet receiver for Rivers. Rivers with real good rhythm now to start this game, getting the ball out quickly.
Greg Minuski running this Redskins defense. His first year as the defensive coordinator, was the outside linebacker coach and the former defensive coordinator of the Chargers. 3rd and 8. Allen sets up by himself. Rivers looks that way. Rivers tipped up in the air. Incomplete. He was trying to get it to Eckler, and Anthony Lanier II got a piece. 4th down.
Well, he was throwing to the 5'9" Austin Eckler. This ball is going to go right off the hat of Lanier. And Brown, who was involved with Eckler, couldn't locate the ball in time to pick it off.
Well, this has been an area of concern throughout the season for the Chargers. Travis Coons attempting a 33-yarder to put LA on the board. Chargers have hit a league-low 67% of their field goal attempts. From 33 yards away, Coons nails it. And the Chargers get points on the opening possession. It finally happened here in Week 14. Washington will have the football when we come back. 10 plays, 60 yards for Los Angeles. The drive stalled inside the red zone. They settled for the Coons 33-yard field goal. And the Chargers with a 3-0 lead over Washington. Bashad Breeland is deep along with Byron Marshall as Los Angeles kicks it off. This will be taken at the goal line by Marshall, the former Eagle. Small opening as he crosses the 20-yard line. That's where Washington will open up. So here are the updated standings in the AFC West. Kansas City has defeated Oakland. The Chiefs finally get a victory and now a half-game lead over the Chargers. Those two teams will go head-to-head Saturday night in Kansas City as Oakland falls to 6-7. Redskins were held to 280 yards of offense against the Cowboys. They are 3-0 against California teams this season, 2-0 in the Pacific time zone, 2-7 against the rest of their schedule. First play, it's Pirine. Runs into a wall. The Chargers ranked 2nd to last in the NFL against the run, and Denzel Perriman leading the charge for LA. Kirk Cousins, 5th in the league in passing yards, and he is 7th in completion percentage.
And going right to the line of scrimmage, trying to set some tempo here early.
2nd and 9 for Washington. Fake the handoff. Cousins fires, finds a soft spot and hits his man, Jamison Crowder, who took a shot on the play. Flag thrown. 17-yard pass play, and Trey Boston looking around.
Well, Boston's upset because he didn't think that this was an illegal hit on Crowder. But the official threw the flag immediately. Crowder doing a super job of hanging on to this ball after the big hit.
There's no foul on the play for a hit on the defensive receiver. It's a shoulder-to-shoulder hit.
Watch the shoulder hit Crowder right in the back. And that is a good call by the officials. Good job of getting together and discussing this. Helmets never quite made contact.
Clean catch to the 41-yard line. Jamison Crowder 52 catches on the season. Running play, and it's P. Ryan. And this play whistled down as he crossed the 45-yard line. So P. Ryan, a 5-yard pickup there. Joey Bosa will get credit for the stop. Question mark as to whether or not Trent Williams would be able to play today. Jay Gruden, as recently as last night, didn't know. Worked him out this morning. Williams is in there, the perennial Pro Bowler, dealing with that knee issue. P. Ryan had back-to-back 100-yard games, but last week against Dallas, 12 carries for 38 yards. It's been a hodgepodge in that offensive line throughout the years. Cousins fires to Vernon Davis. 12-year veteran. Without Jordan Reed, Davis has been even more of a factor on offense. Defensively for the Chargers, Legit was inactive, and he is now back with a toe injury. Perriman missed the first 8 games of the season. After ankle surgery, he continues to make plays, especially against the run. And Casey Hayward, a Pro Bowler last year, he's once again playing at a Pro Bowl level for Los Angeles. This is a 3rd and 2 for the Redskins out near midfield. They trail 3-0 to the Chargers. Handoff. Perine gets drilled. Perriman came firing through to hold Perine to no gain, and it's 4th down.
Here's Perriman right in the middle. Watch the speed here as he's going to mirror the running back, Perine. Nobody's there to block him, and he closes quickly with help from Ingram. Big 3rd down stop for the Chargers.
Redskins went conservative on 3rd and short, and now they're forced to punt with Tress Way. Benjamin and King back there, standing at the 10-yard line of LA. Just over 7 minutes to go here in this opening quarter. Way trying to place it deep in Los Angeles territory, and he does. Desmond King with the fair catch. 43-yard punt. Chargers are playing with a lead in the first quarter. Los Angeles 3, Washington 0. Week 14 of the NFL here on CBS. Back here at StubHub Center, 3-0 lead for the Chargers. Open up at their own 8-yard line. Second possession of the day for Los Angeles.
Aggressive on that first play, that 34-yarder to Tyrell Williams. But that's part of the Charger pass offense today. The other 3 completions for just 9 yards. But they consider a lot of those short dink and dunk passes that are completed as running plays. So a variety there for Rivers, but always the threat of the bomb.
Started at 0-4. We asked Anthony Lynn about it. He said, I think we learned some valuable lessons at that point. You can't take any game for granted. Certainly, there's no such thing as a trap game for this team. On first down, it's Gordon. And there's nothing there. He falls forward to the 9. The last team to make the playoffs when starting 0-4, the Chargers back in 1992. The turnaround has come on both sides of the ball. You mentioned the fact they're not turning it over. Offense has been better, point differential, and that turnover differential plus 14 during this 8-game stretch. Lynn, first-year head coach, interim coach for Buffalo for 1 game when Rex Ryan got let go. 2nd and 9 for LA. Rivers, play fake. Rivers steps up and just tosses it away. The Chargers have given up the fewest sacks in the NFL this season, 13. Pressure from Ryan Kerrigan. He couldn't get to Rivers, but forces a 3rd and long.
Kerrigan complaining he was being held by Joe Barksdale, but again, that shows you the headiness of Rivers. Felt the pressure, ran away from it, and legally threw the ball away.
Ken Wisenhunt in his 2nd year calling the plays for the Chargers, former head coach in Arizona and Tennessee. Him and Phillip Rivers have developed a very strong chemistry. Rivers saying that they've hit a rhythm. Rivers feels like he knows what's coming next. They're in a groove on how to attack defenses. 3rd and 9. Protection holds up. Rivers on time. It's Hunter Henry, downfield threat. And Henry with a 20-yard reception for a first down.
There's just no hesitation in Rivers throwing this ball. He gets back, sets his feet, eyes the defense, and there is Henry picking up his 39th catch of the year. Just 2 steps back, maybe 4, and then off it goes.
Henry also a yards after the catch threat. And it sets up Los Angeles with a 1st and 10 at its own 29-yard line. 5.5 to go in this first quarter. Rivers out of the pocket, looking downfield, and Rivers will chuck it into the ground in the direction of Eckler, Division II product.
Ryan Kerrigan has 9 sacks on the year, looking to add to that total. Working against Russell Okung here, and Okung with a pretty good grab around the throat, but no flag thrown.
Well, we talked about the streak for Phillip Rivers. Kerrigan's got one as well. 109th consecutive start for Ryan Kerrigan. He told us, I've been fortunate. I work hard, I take care of my body. And Kerrigan has been a staple for this Washington D.
Consistently a double-digit sacks. Problem for the Redskins, they don't have another guy on the other side that can put pressure like the Chargers have with Bosa and Ingram.
Preston Smith has 5 sacks, but there's a drop-off. Jeff Triplett resetting the play clock on a 2nd and 10 here for Los Angeles.
Hey, hammer, no hot set, ball 3, Russell. Set, just leave it on, Hunter.
This Charger team dug themselves a deep hole. They've clawed themselves out of it, and they're in the mix here in December. Rivers makes the connection downfield as he floats it to Henry, and a flag down. 15 yards on the hookup. Both teams trying to make their case that there was pass interference on either side.
That's going to go against Washington. It will be refused.
Pass interference, defense number 26. That penalty is declined, result of the play's first down.
Bashad Breeland.
Now, Hunter Henry being grabbed right there. Well, we've seen a lot worse calls than that, but look at this ability to catch with a defender right on his back for Hunter Henry.
Hey, ID Tiger, Mike's 5-3.
Under 5 minutes to go here in the opening quarter. Rivers and the Chargers on the move once again. Running play, Gordon. Finally gets tossed down to the 48-yard line. That's a 5-yard gain. Ioannidis and Vigil combined to bring down the talented Melvin Gordon. And a flag down. Late flag as Jeff Triplett is getting a workout on the mic. Really late. Thrown at the 49-yard line on Washington's side of the field.
After the play's over, personal foul, unnecessary roughness, number 52 of the defense. The 15-yard penalty added into the play, automatic first down.
And it's the rookie out of Alabama, Ryan Anderson, who got into it with Kenny Wiggins.
Yeah, gotta give him a little jab to the ribs there. And our back judge right on the spot, Steve Freeman, a former safety for the Buffalo Bills, now lining up as a back judge. He did not like it through the flag.
You have a background with Steve Freeman. You said that with a lot of confidence. Running left, Melvin Gordon, and he stampedes across the 35 for 4.
Well, Freeman was a safety for the Bills, and we were playing them in the playoff game back whenever that was. And throwing a slant route right to Ron Smith, and he stepped right in front of it. And at the last instant, I saw him, got on my tippy toes and threw it over the top. Smith went 50 yards for a touchdown, but I still have nightmares because if I didn't get on my tippy toes, he would have picked it off.
You and Steve maybe grab a beer after the game, talk about old times?
I don't think he'll want to see me after the game.
2nd and 6. Rivers throws it on a line to Travis Benjamin, and a flag down after Benjamin crossed the 20-yard line. 15 yards, Josh Norman defensively for Washington.
It's got to be demoralizing for the Redskins trying to get to Rivers. He knows exactly where he wants to go with the ball, and if he doesn't like it, he'll throw it away.
Number 24, defense.
Josh Norman's going to get tagged for the face mask. Working against Travis Benjamin. Watch the left hand. It gets a bunch of grill there.
Bonus yards for L.A. And the Chargers are in business just inside the Washington 10. Now for Jay Gruden, what could have been. Now, this Washington team felt like they were going to vie for a division title. They're 5-7 with Arizona, Denver, and the Giants coming up on the schedule. Handoff, Gordon. Gordon hit down low. He could not break away from Zach Vigil. It's a 1-yard pickup for Gordon.
Vigil doing a nice job here. Watch number 56 as he recognizes the draw play. And he's going to shoot the gap here as he had help on the inside as Zach Brown took away the inside hole, forcing Gordon to jump outside where Vigil was.
Redskins have 15 players on IR, 11 that were expected to be starters.
Hey, go 5-3.
Second and goal.
5-3, yellow 5-3, you got 5-6.
Chargers trying to add to their lead. Rivers working out of the gun. Rivers fires, complete. Hunter Henry, touchdown Chargers. Phillip Rivers with another strike.
Well, Rivers, what he liked to see is a little man-to-man coverage. That's what he got. DeShazer Everett, 22 with him. But watch, Henry does not push off. Ball thrown nice and high for the 6'5" Henry. Look at the protection. Clear throwing lane. 10 plays, 92 yards for Rivers and the Chargers.
25 of those yards were on penalties. Extra point from Coons. He knocks it through. And the Chargers with a 10-0 lead in the first quarter. Phillip Rivers continues the hot streak for this LA offense. Another long drive for the Chargers, 10 plays, 92 yards. This time they cash in. Rivers to Henry on the 8-yard touchdown pass. Phillip Rivers, 336 career touchdowns, 7th all time. Coons kicks it off. Marshall goes down. The ball ends up in the end zone, and Marshall will down it there. And he is pulling at the back of his leg. This has been a recurring theme for the Redskins, injuries.
He's coming over, looking in good shape here, but as he plants he stubbed his toe. Stubbed his toe and then grabs for his right hamstring.
They're fortunate it went into the end zone. That ball could have settled in at the 1.
And he was smart to get right back on top of it, because if he doesn't, Chargers could have recovered it in the end zone for a touchdown. Athletic
training staff out to check on Byron Marshall. They just don't have a lot of options at running back. Marshall has stepped in that Chris Thompson role. And Thompson, one of their most dynamic playmakers, done for the year with a leg injury. They lost Rob Kelly to an ankle injury. Terrell Pryor out with an ankle injury, IR. Long and Laval on the offensive line. Number of defensive players as well. And Marshall is limping off for Washington. Pirine didn't do a whole lot of receiving at Oklahoma.
No, it didn't do a whole lot of running out of the I formation either, which is one of the staples of this Redskin offense. So there was an adjustment for Pirine. Another rookie is backing him up today, LaShawn Daniel. And that's it for running backs if Marshall can't go.
1st and 10 from the 25. The Redskins are in a 10-point hole with 2:34 remaining in this first quarter. Cousins, fake the handoff. Cousins to throw. Intercepted on the deflection. The Chargers come away with it. Kyle Emanuel. And he wasn't even the defender you thought would pick it off. It should have been Trevor Williams.
Well, he's heads up following his receiver down the field. Emanuel gets his first pick of the year, and that's the Chargers' 16th interception. But Trevor Williams has got to be kicking himself. He won't have an easier catch than that.
And he's a converted wide receiver. Maybe
now we know why.
That could be the reason.
I'm not sure converted is the proper word, though.
Williams, you could see how upset he was when he landed on the ground, that he looked up and realized his teammate had the football.
Really heads up by Kyle Emanuel, a middle linebacker, 6'3", 250, all the way down the field, looking for a lucky bounce.
Washington now is -5 on the turnover differential.
180.
And the Chargers take over at the Redskins 29.
380.
Rivers hit as he throws, and the ball just spinning around. It's whistled incomplete. Ryan Kerrigan with a shot on Rivers.
And Russell Okung is down.
And he's grabbing the right leg.
Now, Kerrigan came from the other side of the formation, working against Joe Barksdale. Wide stance, and he has a good arm under there, and Rivers just got rid of it in time.
Timeout. Russell Okung walked off gingerly, and they're working on that right leg of Okung. Sam Tevy, the rookie out of Utah, has stepped in. 2nd and 10 for the Chargers. Motion man is Henry, who caught the touchdown. Rivers pulls the trigger, floats it upstairs, and it's caught. Keenan Allen redirects. Allen inside the 10. 21 yards on a loft.
Well, it's almost as if Allen is reading Rivers' mind. Look how quickly he locates this underthrown ball. Coverage by Dunbar was good, but unstoppable when you have this type of relationship with your quarterback, and the whereabouts to look back early to find the underthrown ball.
Los Angeles has 10 first downs already. We have 1:35 to go in this opening quarter. 1st and goal. Running play. Gordon waits. And Gordon tackled after the 3-yard gain. We check in with Evan Washburn.
Well, guys, injury updates. Byron Marshall's dealing with a right hamstring injury. The official word is questionable, but guys, he could barely put weight on that right leg. As for Okung, he's trying to walk through what is a right knee injury right now. They continue to test his stability. He's headed to the tent. No official word yet, but I'll keep you updated.
Yeah, Evan, we just saw Marshall on that Washington sideline, and he's not moving well.
And Okung already was wearing a brace on that right knee, so obviously he has had problems there.
2nd and goal from the 5. It's been all Chargers in the opening quarter. Fake it. Rivers gets rid of it. Caught by Allen. Could not get the angle to the end zone.
I'm not sure he was going to get anywhere, though. There were 3 Redskins waiting for him after he makes this catch. Coming in motion, and then Rivers gets it over Kerrigan. And you can see the pursuit by the Redskins here that we're going to keep Allen out of the end zone.
3rd and goal for Los Angeles. They're running their 24th play of the opening quarter. Washington has had 6. On 3rd down, Rivers guns it offline. He was looking for Allen, and it's 4th down for Los Angeles. Josh Norman in coverage. 6 seconds to play in the first.
Well, you got to give the Skins a lot of credit here, because they're going to hold the Chargers to just a field goal and keep it as a 2-score game. The most unique throwing motion in the NFL is this one right here. Almost like Kent Tekulve, huh?
A little bit. I'm going to go Submariner.
That's next.
21-yard attempt here for Coons. He's got it. And the Chargers take a 13-0 lead over Washington. We'll be back in 30 seconds after this from Lowe's. Chargers lead at 13-0 over the Washington Redskins. 3 seconds to play in this first quarter. 153 yards of offense for LA. Redskins with 27. First time they've scored on their first 3 drives since week 9 of last year. Anthony Lynn, who weathered the storm with this Charger squad. And the players that we spoke with gave a lot of credit to the coaching staff for remaining consistent in their approach.
Yeah, and he's told us that he would rather see touchdowns in the red zone than field goals. He's had 3 opportunities, just 1 touchdown today.
Returnable for Breland, and Breland gets hemmed in as he crossed the 20-yard line. That'll do it for the first quarter. Still waiting for the Redskins offense to show up. It's 13-0 Chargers. Back to LA after this. The NFL on CBS. Very clean opening quarter for the Chargers. 122 yards through the air. Time of possession, all LA. No penalties. And Washington, first play of the second quarter, trailing 13-0 on a 1st and 10 from their own 23-yard line. Handed off. Pirine. He carries Williams with him for a gain of 4. And this has not been the story for the Chargers, though, this season. First quarter, Washington a plus 27, 6th in the NFL. The Chargers minus 32 entering action here today in first quarter scoring. Reversal.
That's absolutely amazing, but the turnover, a big part of that, and then that 92-yard drive by the Chargers.
Injury concern is Russell Okung. Cousins. He hits Ryan Grant. And a die saves a touchdown because Grant was looking to break it to the open field. 28 yards on the catch and run.
Well, this is a bullet by Cousins. Playing way off as a die. There's a missed tackle by Boston, but a die comes back and is able to trip Ryan Grant up, or this would have been a huge touchdown and a momentum-building play for the Redskins.
Grant had a touchdown against Dallas last Thursday night. 5 catches, 76 yards. And Washington is in LA territory at the 45. Just underway here in the second quarter. It's Pirine. A straight line up the middle. Across the 40-yard line, and Joey Bosa there defensively for LA. 8-yard gain for Pirine.
Yeah, and in talking to Matt Cavanaugh earlier in the week, he told me that they feel that with their size up front, their ability to run the ball with Pirine right at the Chargers, not trying to go wide, but just go right at them, they feel that they've got bigger, more powerful blockers than the Chargers can handle. And you think about the Chargers giving up 129 on the ground, 31st in the league. Makes sense.
2nd and 2. Pirine again. Tried the stutter step, could not get to the marker. Melvin Ingram there to wrap him up. Pirine, rookie out of Oklahoma, set records with the Sooners. Powerful back, had 1,713 yards back in 2014. Has a track background going to his high school days in Pflugerville, Texas.
Yeah, he's not your breakaway back, but he is a pounder. A little bit bigger than Alfred Morris. That's 6'2", 230.
Remember, they faced a 3rd and 2 in the first quarter. They ran it to no avail. Cousins off his back foot, floats it. Incomplete. And it's Vernon Davis, the intended receiver, could not haul it in with Rayshon Jenkins, the rookie, back there.
If Davis stops right here, he's going to at least cause a pass interference and go up for this ball, but he continues to run, and Jenkins there for the knockaway.
Washington will go for it then. They're in no man's land. It would be a 55-yard field goal attempt.
Yeah, they've gone for it 13 times this season, converting 7 of them.
It's a 4th and 2 for Washington. Cousins out of the pocket, looking downfield. Cousins, it's caught. Niles Paul playing without their star tight end Jordan Reed for the 6th straight game out with a hamstring injury. Cousins has had to find other options. That's 15 yards.
Well, Adai's got good coverage short and Desmond King deep. And it's 6-1. Watch Paul go up there and snatch that ball and hang on after the big hits.
Paul is a former wide receiver, now in his 7th year in the NFL, 5th round pick back in 2011. Really more of a special teams guy over the years. Pirine gets driven backwards as he hit the hole A hit delivered by Palapoy. 1 yard gain on forward progress for Washington.
Chargers have a lot of depth on that defensive line. Palapoy, Bosa, Damian Square, Mebane, Darius Philon, and Corey Leggett. And Gus Bradley does a good job of keeping them fresh.
Bradley in his first year as the defensive coordinator of the Chargers, and this unit has improved as the season has gone on. Ryan tries to redirect. Not going to happen. Palapoy again, some help from Desmond King and run support. And it's third and long.
Yeah, and it's almost as if the Chargers realize that that's where the Redskins want to run the ball, is between the tackles. Last couple of times, first and second down, they've lost yardage now, setting up a third and long.
Chargers come in ranked 4th in the NFL in points allowed, 17.7 per game. You look, though, over the last 7 games, they're allowing less than 15 points. They're averaging nearly 3 takeaways per game. They have one already today with the pick. Play clock down to 1. Cousins on a 3rd and 11. Cousins steps up. Cousins, end zone! Touchdown, Vernon Davis! Kirk Cousins keeps the play alive and delivers. Redskins are on the board.
The Chargers decided to move Melvin Ingram inside over the center. He got a good pass rush, but a super job of stepping around the pressure right up the middle by Cousins. Buys him extra time. Watch 54. Ingram coming. Good job of picking him up by the rookie LaShawn Daniel, and then finding a friendly face in the end zone. Vernon Davis has done that now 59 times in his career.
The scramble by Cousins. We asked him about Davis. He said he still runs like he did his rookie year. They love his speed, his after-the-catch ability. Doink! No good.
Yeah, there was trouble getting the hold down. The ball may have been deflected, and that caused it to go off the upright.
Nick Rose missed it.
Snapper is Nick Sundberg. Tress Way is the holder. This is not a clean execution. You can see the trouble that Way had getting it down, and this ball just yanked left off the upright. But the timing perhaps may have been thrown off because it took a while for Tress Way to get this down, and his finger is not exactly on the point of the ball. And a little bit of a chili dip there by Nick Rose, just his second miss all year. But a big one.
So the Chargers have a 13-6 lead over Washington, and Rose will kick it off to Desmond King, the deep man for LA. Deep kick. And it goes through the back of the end zone, coming out to the 25. The Walter Payton NFL Man of the Year Award recognizes NFL players who have made a significant impact both on the game and in their communities. This year's nominee for Washington, Nick Sundberg. For the Chargers, Casey Hayward. Sundberg launched Loads of Love, installing in-school laundry for homeless students. Hayward is a staple at community events, including volunteering at a food drive to help victims of Hurricane Harvey. This year's winner will be announced at NFL Honors the night before Super Bowl 52. To learn all about this year's nominees, visit NFL.com/Man of the Year. Russell Okung is back in there at left tackle for Los Angeles. Rivers, great protection. Rivers, deep shot, separation. Tyrell Williams! Williams has got the angle. He's gone. Touchdown, Chargers. Phillip Rivers on the money for 75 yards.
Well, he had a 75-yarder earlier in the season. It's just a post route. Josh Norman is just left in the dust. Good ability to track that ball, make the catch, and say, see you later.
Tyrell Williams, who ran track at Western Oregon. And nobody was going to catch him. Gliding into the end zone. So Washington gets points. The Chargers answer immediately.
Yeah, the Redskins have no pass rush, no answers right now for Phillip Rivers. 11 of 16 for 197.
And Coons puts it through. 20-6 Chargers. We'll be back in 30 seconds after this from Garmin. What a day for Phillip Rivers. 11 of 16, 197 yards, 2 touchdowns. Williams on the receiving end.
Tremendous job at tracking that ball and looking it into his hands. Now he knows that there's nobody in sight and he can glide into the end zone. More aggressive the Chargers have been in this first half against the Redskins, and Rivers loves it.
Ball bounces just inside the 5. Breeland on the return. Breeland working the sideline, and it is Coons who makes the play on Breeland. Good field position for Washington to open up, but now trailing 20-6, 35-yard return. Second time that Tyrell Williams has had a 75-yard touchdown reception this season. Williams had a big year last year, Dan, numbers-wise. Came out of nowhere with 69 catches, 1,059 yards, and 7 touchdowns. Numbers are down from a year ago, but Keenan Allen's numbers are up because he's healthy.
Well, when you see a receiver's had a 75-yarder already and last year had an 80-yarder, that's got to tell you, hey, this is the guy they like to throw the bomb to, because that's how you get those big numbers was with the bomb.
Crowder motion man on first down. Running play, Pirine, and scraping at the ball, and Pirine works his way across the 45. Downstairs to Evan Washburn.
And guys, you never know what's going to matter, but Phillip Rivers, right before they took the field, pulled Williams over to the side. They must have, and Rivers must have seen something in coverage, because he said something in his ear right before they took the field, and obviously the result was what it was.
Yeah, that was a theme from our conversations with the Redskins, the respect level for Phillip Rivers, the adjustments that he makes. Ryan Kerrigan compared him to Peyton Manning in the way that he will look at something and how smart he is. Pirine has nowhere to go. Melvin Ingram, who was shaken up on the previous series, combines with Denzel Perriman to bring him down.
And this is a play that's going away from him. He gets inside of Vernon Davis and right to the ball carriers. The Redskins try to run wide against the Chargers after having no success running up the middle. But that's the quickness of Melvin Ingram, and you get help from Perriman.
And we've seen the dynamic nature of this Chargers offense, and you look at Washington, they just don't have the horses right now. 3rd and 6. Cousins. He connects. Josh Doctson. Cousins had some high praise for Doctson, the way he's developed this year. Missed the majority of last season with injury, so it's basically his rookie year. 13-yard grab.
Watch this pocket set up here for Cousins. Good double team there with Bergstrom and Sheriff. And again, when you got a clear throwing lane like that and nobody near you, and a dangerous threat in Josh Doctson, that's really a key 3rd down conversion for the Washington Redskins.
Doctson leads the Redskins with 5 touchdown catches. They are in Los Angeles territory. Motion man is Grant. Running play, Pirine keeps the legs churning, but he was hit down low by Trevor Williams. 2-yard pickup for Pirine. Thursday, Denver takes on Indianapolis. Thursday Night Football on NFL Network, NBC, and streaming live on Amazon Prime Video. 2nd and 8 here for the Redskins. 7:28 to play in this first half. Jay Gruden asked him, how do you handle this Chargers defense? Well, you got to be able to run the football, mostly up the middle that we've seen, and get rid of it quickly in passing situations. Change the drop spot for the quarterback. Dump off to Pirine for 4. Hit by Phillips of L.A.
Got a short pass completion to Pirine, but it sets up a 3rd down where you have a lot of options. You want to call it manageable. Well, all that means is that you have the ability to run the ball here or throw it.
Redskins in jeopardy of missing the playoffs for the 3rd time in the last 4 years. They actually would be eliminated with a loss. Carolina already got a victory. If Seattle wins, then mathematically it would be over. Crowder fell down in motion, got back up, but couldn't catch the football. And it's the same spot when they went for it on the previous possession. Desmond King makes the play defensively for Los Angeles.
That ball just off target as Crowder working his way back to the middle where the ball was being thrown by Cousins. Last time in this situation, the Redskins ran the ball, didn't get it.
Well, they faced it twice. They did get Paul involved on a 4th down. This is a 4th and 4 for Washington. Cousins just throws it upstairs over the head of Davis. Extended out, but not quite far enough for the 33-year-old. Washington hands it over to LA on downs. They don't get it on 4th. Chargers have it at their own 37-yard line with 6:26 to go in this first half. A 20-6 lead on the Washington Redskins. Shotgun for Rivers. Rivers, high throw. Keenan Allen working against Quinton Dunbar. Anthony Lynn told us he mentioned Allen. He's got to lose some weight after week 1. He did.
Tremendous catch. He caught the back end of this ball. But again, the tacit relationship between receiver and quarterback on tremendous display right there.
He went from 218 pounds to 211. Lynn said he's still physical, but definitely quicker. A little trickery. Travis Benjamin turns the corner, and he's got room. Rivers in front of him. Benjamin is shoved out of bounds as he hit the 25-yard line by DeShazer Everett. 22-yard rip for Benjamin.
Well, it's all working for the Chargers right now. Good execution. Good pitch by Gordon to Benjamin. And then there's the speed to get away from Preston. I'm not sure this is a convoy you want, but you got a wide receiver and Allen out there. And then who's this guy? This looks like he's looking for a guy to miss.
Wide-eyed Travis Benjamin sets the Chargers up 1st and 10 at the 25. 266 yards for LA. Eckler now in there. It's Eckler. And not a whole lot there. We asked Philip Rivers about Austin Eckler, and he said, yeah, I kept seeing number 3 in training camp. That's the number that Eckler was given. And he would ask people, Rivers would, who's that again? What's his name? And then he'd make another play, say, where did he go to school? And then he basically said, I got to get some reps with this guy.
Well, his first carry was for a touchdown. So he is doing a good job in that Darren Sproles Danny Woodhead position.
He's elusive. And Eckler ridden down. Brandon Oliver has not been a part of this offense. Eckler has stepped in, and he spells Melvin Gordon and just gives the defense a different look. That's a first down for Los Angeles.
He's averaging just under 5 yards a carry. He's got 26 catches on the season, so he's doing it on the ground and through the air, and his pass protection has been solid, which is most important to Rivers.
We'll hit the 4-minute mark of this second quarter. Gordon gets the carry, and the Redskins ready for him. Zach Vigil leading that charge. 1 yard pickup, make it no gain on the spot. Anthony Lanier as well. Evan Washburn down on the field.
Well, guys, just a lineup thing to check in on. Bashad Breeland is currently on the sideline. He's not dealing with an injury. He's just sitting this series out. We saw Quinton Dunbar get beat earlier. Obviously, a lot of big plays given up. They're shifting things around back there.
Yeah, Breeland has the helmet off. Kendall Fuller has been a standout working in the slot. Fuller in his second year has 4 interceptions for Washington. 2nd and 10 from the 15. Now the Chargers chewing up clock. Rivers steps up, and he's dumped. Anthony Lanier, 3rd sack of the season for Lanier, and it's 3rd down for Los Angeles.
And give Zach Brown some credit for taking care of Melvin Gordon out of the backfield. That's where Rivers was looking first. You think that, you get a running back on a linebacker, that's your advantage. But Zach Brown, the fastest linebacker in the NFL, was all over the running back out of the backfield.
And there were reports that they were trying to work out a deal with Zach Brown to keep him in Washington. He was signed to a 1-year, $2.3 million contract. He's been with Tennessee and Buffalo. Went to the Pro Bowl last year. 3rd and 13. Rivers Incomplete. Tried to hit Hunter Henry, and it was popped out of there by Dunbar. That's fourth down.
It would have been questionable if he would have had enough yardage for the first down after the catch, but really good job by Dunbar. Left hand right on the ball, and his right arm wrapped around Hunter Henry to make sure that if he did catch the ball, he would not have picked up the first down.
Rivers had Junior Gillette in the area. Those two paths crossed after the ball was incomplete. 36-yard attempt for Travis Coombs. Signed when Nick Novak was out with a back injury, and Novak now on IR, and Coombs connects. Chargers 23, the Redskins 6 late in the second quarter. Coming up, Verizon Halftime Report, JB, Phil, Nate, Boomer, Coach Cowher, the latest NFL scores and highlights, all coming up on the Verizon Halftime Report. Chargers, they've scored on their first 5 drives, first time that's happened in 6 years. And LA kicks it off with Coombs. Bashad Breeland is back in there, returnable from the 2. Breeland slowed down and then smacked as he crossed the 20-yard line. Redskins will have it at the 21. Here's the updated AFC playoff picture with Pittsburgh and New England both at 10-2. Collision course for next week. Kansas City gets the win, so for now 7-6. Well, the Chargers with a victory would match the Chiefs. Those two will play next week. Oakland falls to 6-7. Jacksonville and Baltimore currently holding down the wild card spots, and Buffalo remains alive, 7-6 for the Bills.
Yeah, great time of year. Things start to get a little clearer, and sometimes not so clear.
Well, the Redskins, it's clear they have not had success on the road. They're 1-4 in their last 5 road games. P-Ride. Good timing for Washington as Puron used some patience, and he's hit by Trey Boston. Takes it right to the marker. Good enough for a first down as we hit the 2-minute warning in Carson. 23-6, the Chargers in front. Well, for Jay Gruden right now, issues on both sides of the ball. First 4 possessions, the 1 touchdown. And then defensively, Redskins have allowed at least 30 points 6 times this season. Tied with Arizona and Cleveland for the most in the NFL. Chargers have put up 23 in this first half. 2 minutes to go. Cousins, deep shot, over the shoulder. He was not in bounds. Vernon Davis hauls it in, but incomplete.
Yeah, Cousins just doesn't give Davis enough room on this ball. Davis running with some good speed down the sidelines. He gets beyond Phillips, but the ball carries him out of bounds.
You know, for Kirk Cousins, we asked him about the 5-7 record, and he said, in college, you're just used to winning. In the NFL, the margin is so slim. There have been games that they've won where he didn't feel like he played his best, and then vice versa, games that they've lost where he felt he did play well, but they couldn't find a way. Josh Doxson on the receiving end. Washington moving quickly after the 8-yard completion.
Yeah, you can see they have all 3 of their timeouts.
It's 3rd and 2 for the Redskins. Cousins. Fortunate for him, it wasn't intercepted. Casey Hayward was in position. And it's 4th down. Washington will punt it with Tress Way.
Yeah, this ball should have been intercepted by Hayward. He has 4 on the season. This ball hit him right in the chest. It's a slant route. And look who's the first to the ball. And you could almost call that pass interference on Doxson. He made contact before the ball got there.
And Washington used very little time, so plenty of time for the Chargers here with 3 timeouts. Fair catch called for at the 14-yard line by Benjamin. 46-yard kick by Way. Rivers will get another crack at this Washington defense with just over a minute left, first half. But up, Verizon Halftime Report. JB and the rest of the gang. Latest NFL scores and highlights coming up. Verizon Halftime Report. Did you sign that for Kirk?
No, that's Kyle.
Oh, Kyle. I'm sorry.
All the best, Kyle.
Is there another guy next to him named Kirk?
No, there was Danny and Travis. And
Maybe a monster.
Please send your checks to P.O. Box
It's easy.
1:23 to go in this first half. Rivers will throw it away. Had nothing going downfield and a flag down. Phillip Rivers still 3 timeouts to work with, but penalty against the Chargers.
Holding,
it's first of the day.
Offense. That penalty's declined. Second down.
So they turn it down. It'll be 2nd and 10. So no accepted penalties against LA. 273 total yards of offense in this first half. It's a 2nd and 10 instead of a 1st and 17. Chargers trying to get over the 500 mark, a team that started the year 0-4. Rivers. It's Keenan Allen. First down across the 30-yard line for LA. Timeout taken. Or is it? Nope. They're going to rush to the line here, even with those 3 timeouts. 1:06 and counting. Still plenty of time here for the Chargers to work with. But Rivers is dropped. A sack inside the 25 from Ioannidis.
That's the second time he's been sacked this afternoon after only being sacked 13 times all season.
Just lost a lot of time there. And calling that timeout. 43 seconds left. It'll be 2nd and long for Los Angeles after the timeout.
Yeah, good start to the day for Rivers. He hits this 34-yarder to Tyrell Williams on the first play of the game. Hunter Henry has 3 catches in that touchdown. And then the real backbreaker was the 75-yard bomb to Tyrell Williams. And how about him getting out in front and making sure he doesn't have to hit anybody? Smart quarterback. 12 of 18, 12 of 19 now for 213 and 2 scores.
Keep in mind, Rivers led the league in interceptions twice over the last 3 years. He's had only 7 this season. Turned 36 on Friday. And still going strong. Phillip Rivers. 2nd and 15. It's a running play. Shake and bake by Gordon. And he's down at the 35. Hit by Ryan Kerrigan on the play. We're down to 32 seconds left. 10-yard gain for Gordon.
And still not using the timeout here.
3rd and 5. Rivers converts as he hits Hunter Henry. Now a timeout taken with 19 seconds left. That's an 8-yard pickup. Kirk Cousins, a helpless feeling as his offense has produced 145 yards in the first half.
Intensity. Probably one of the most passionate, not just quarterbacks, but players I've ever seen, really. Phillip Rivers gives it his all on every play. And he's got the Chargers just humming right now.
When we asked him about taking a game for granted, Rivers said, look, when you're 0-4, you're just trying to figure out how to win a game. So even though the smoke has cleared a bit and the team is 6-6, he said the team has to keep that narrow focus like they had when they were 0-4, trying to get 1 win. Flag down. Rivers. Downfield. It's Tyrell Williams again. And he's down at the 36-yard line. 13 seconds left. Penalty marker at the 46 on Los Angeles' side of the field. It's a 20-yard hookup.
Yep. Ioannidis defense. That penalty's declined. The result of the play is a first down.
And Rivers saw it the whole way. And Ioannidis, after he jumps, he's just going to stop and stand there.
It's a free play.
And not get involved in the play at all. But the question for the Chargers, they're not sure about Travis Coons, what his range might be. His longest in his career is 47 yards. Right now, it would be a 55-yarder. So they're looking for at least another 10 yards to get him comfortable.
Coons kicked for Cleveland, but was not in the league last season. So he's worked his way back to the NFL. 13 seconds left. 23-6 lead for the Chargers. Rivers, deep drop. 10 seconds left. Rivers throws it away. Near the feet of Eckler. And Rivers has some words for Anthony Lanier. And they've made up. Anything there? Yep. Everything's okay.
Yeah, well, you get a double pat on the butt. I guess that's okay.
He tried to hold him up. He's a big man.
He tried to hold him up, and then he kind of pushed him down at the very end, I think.
Well, quarterbacks notice that kind of thing.
Coons isn't open for those 10 yards, isn't he?
8 seconds left with 1 timeout remaining. And Washington will use a timeout. It'll be 2nd down for the Chargers after the timeout. Total yards now, Dan, 321 for the Chargers.
Now, right now, you're thinking about Keenan Allen. He comes into the game with 77 catches on the year, and he's got 5 already. But also, Hunter Henry has been very effective over the middle. So for Rivers, he'll take a look at the defense, maybe put somebody in motion to give him an idea whether it's man-to-man or zone, and then go where the Redskins tell him to go. Beat that defense, find the open receiver. Problem for Hunter Henry is he on the sidelines?
He is.
Yep. Well, he'd be open there.
He would be out of bounds.
Hey!
If you catch the ball, you have to go down immediately and call that timeout. There's only 8 seconds remaining. They'll go running play. And it works. Eckler! Inside the 5, and they'll run out of time. Eckler was looking for the end zone, and it costs the Chargers 3 points. Unless they put 1 second left on the clock.
Well, it's a rookie mistake by Eckler. Right here, he's got to go down.
They might give him a second. The Redskins have run off the field, and Philip Rivers is now explaining it to Eckler.
At the end of the first half.
That's it. So the Chargers will come up empty, and Eckler upsetted himself. He was thinking about the 6. Was not thinking about the 3. End of the first half, it's 23-6. Chargers leading the Redskins. Halftime is next. First half highlights from Verizon and a word from your local station.
Want to stay up to date? Hey Siri, show me football scores.
Getting ready for second half action, 23-6. The Chargers leading the Redskins back here in the broadcast booth. Ian Eagle along with Dan Fouts, Evan Washburn down on the sidelines. This could actually be worse for Washington. Chargers had an opportunity to put points on the board at the end of the first half. Eckler trying to get to the end zone, but it ended up costing Los Angeles.
Well, this is a rookie mistake, but also I put a little bit of this on Philip Rivers too. He's got to alert the youngster that, hey, listen, you got to get down. He talks to him afterwards. Got to get down, but he didn't. He thought he could get all the way to the end zone. And it did cost the Chargers at least 3 points.
When the Chargers call that play, I'm not sure they're thinking that they're going to pop one for a touchdown. They figure get 6-7 yards, set up Coons for a field goal, call the timeout. It didn't work out that way. It looked like there might have been a second left. Whether or not the Chargers got the timeout in time, it's irrelevant. The officials didn't see it that way.
Well, it's also irrelevant. The Chargers are unstoppable, too.
They are.
The Redskins have had no answers for Rivers. They've sacked him twice. That you would think that would be a good statistic. But Rivers, 15 of 23 for 256 and a pair of scores in the first half.
And the Chargers will kick it off to start this third quarter with Breland deep for Washington. LA had to settle for field goals with Coons. They couldn't punch it into the end zone a couple of times in the red zone. Breland slowed down before he hit the 20 and then slammed down by Los Angeles on special teams. Let's check in with Evan Washburn.
Well, and for Jake Gruden, that's where the adjustment started. How do we frustrate Rivers more in this second half? He feels like with their secondary, they might have to start challenging these receivers to give that defensive line some time to get after him some more, maybe even send some more guys on a blitz. Offensively here with this first possession, it's trying to extend a drive, create any sort of positive momentum. As for Anthony Lynn, his priority is defensively. Got to contain Cousins. He likes the rush, but they can't let him get out. That's when he'll make his plays. Guys?
Evan, Kirk Cousins, 8 of 14, 112 yards, a touchdown, and a pick. No rushing yards for Cousins in the first half. Redskins are 5-7, trying to remain alive mathematically in the NFC playoff race. Also thinking about finishing with a winning record. Pirine going up the middle for 2, tackled by Melvin Ingram. Yeah, the Chargers, it has been a prolific offensive showing so far.
And it's been bombs away for Rivers. Tyrell Williams, 4 catches for 132. Of course, that 75-yarder where he beat Josh Norman to the post. The big one.
Rivers also with a touchdown to the tight end Hunter Henry. 2nd and 8 for the Redskins. Pirine has been held to 35 yards on the ground. Cousins out of the pocket, flags fly. And Cousins will head to the sideline. Gets out of bounds, 2 flags on the play.
The near side, it's holding against the Chargers in the secondary.
Also one on the far side along the 27-yard line. 2 penalties against Washington first half. Chargers have no accepted penalties.
He leaves the hands to the face. Number 20 of the defense, that penalty is declined. He leaves the hands to the face. Number 37 defense, that penalty is accepted. 5 yards added at the end of the play, first down.
I'll take your pick, king or a die, but it is a penalty against Los Angeles. So the first one for the Chargers. And it gives Washington a first down at the 32-yard line. Washington has allowed 35 sacks this season, 14 on first down. Pirine, he usually gets better as the game goes on. Because of his running style, he'll wear out a defense. And he picks up 5 yards on that run, brought down by Denzel Perriman.
That's not a good sign, though,
no.
with Pirine limping off the field here.
And it will be LaShawn Daniels.
Remember, Byron Marshall pulled a hamstring in the first half. So the injury woes continue for the Redskins. Unbelievable.
Daniels was on the practice squad. He's also on the Chargers practice squad. Cousins, nobody home. He tried to find Crowder in a crowd, and it's 3rd and 5. Pressure from Corey Legit. That's what Kirk Cousins was dealing with.
Let's take a look at the shot that Legit, number 94, is going to give. Kirk Cousins couldn't step into the throw. Chargers doing a good job in the secondary against Crowder. Just 1 catch so far.
Pirine still has the helmet on, but he's not in there on 3rd and 5. Crowder operating out of the slot. Cousins looks that way. Cousins trying to run. Didn't get there. Needed to get to the 42-yard line. And Chris McCain limits him to a 3-yard run. 4th down, Washington.
Now the benefit the Chargers can do, they can rush 4 guys and drop 7. And that's what they've done to frustrate Kirk Cousins. He started the game 7 out of 9, but since that point, just 1 out of 6. And not a lot of time to throw the ball.
Travis Benjamin does have a touchdown on a punt return this season, 65 yards. High punt sailing. It's over the head of Benjamin. Bounces and finally touched inside the 5 at the 4-yard line. That's where the Chargers will have it deep in their own territory after the 56-yard booming kick by Way. The only possession the Chargers didn't score on was the last one, which they should have scored on. Nearly had a touchdown, then ran out of time to attempt a field goal. Los Angeles 23, Washington 6. And a first down for the Chargers inside their own 5. Fake it. Rivers throws it too high. Flag down, looking for Keenan Allen. Washington claims the ball was tipped, and Jeff Triplett agrees.
That's why it was so off target.
There's no defensive pass interference as the ball was tipped at the line of scrimmage. 2nd down.
Stacy McGee got a piece. Or did he? Oh, no.
Just at the very end.
Swearinger.
A fingernail, perhaps, under that glove.
Can Washington create something on defense? Chargers have been gouging the Redskins to the tune of 354 yards. Running play for Gordon. Spin move by Gordon. And now gives LA some breathing room. Zach Vigil with a tackle for the Redskins.
Well, it's the old-fashioned blast play with Derek Watt, the fullback, right in front of Gordon. But the key on this play is for Gordon getting yards after contact. Good block by Watt. That gets him to the hole. There's the contact, the spin, and an extra 4 or 5 yards.
Sets up third and a long one for the Chargers. They've got Watt in there, the fullback. They've got Jeff Cumberland in there, another tight end. Try to run for it. Gordon plunges, and he's got enough. Needed a yard, picked up 2, hit by Ziggy Hood. And a new set of downs for Los Angeles to work with. So nothing fancy here for Gordon. 12 carries, 46 yards, a long of 10, but effective. And when we asked Anthony Lynn about the run game, he said, he just wants them to be efficient. He feels like they've been more balanced than they were the first 4 weeks of the season. Stats don't exactly bear that out, but efficiency is what he's looking for on the ground. Gordon breaks through an arm tackle, trying to get to the outside, and Gordon is thrown down by Zach Brown.
And the one thing that we haven't seen with Gordon today is any passes directed his way. Came into the game with 42 catches on the season. But look at the speed here by Zach Brown as he gets by Derek Watt and just going to fight off the stiff arm. Tremendous battle there between Gordon and Brown.
Not only does Brown lead the NFL in tackles, he leads the Redskins in tackles for a loss. Sets up 2nd and 8. Eckler in there. Rivers looks downfield. It's dropped. Cumberland.
Well, the best catch on that play was Rivers with the snap from his center, Spencer Pulley. Watch this catch by Rivers on a fastball from Pulley. A little bit outside, and then Rivers calmly finds his tight end, who promptly drops it.
Brings up 3rd and 8 now for Los Angeles. Rivers is 15 of 25, 256 yards, 2 touchdowns. 3rd and long. Rivers in stride. Travis Benjamin. And it's short. Benjamin indicating that he thought he had enough for the first down.
A first down saving tackle by Kendall Fuller right here. Just gets him by that left toe. Huge stop for the Redskins.
Play is whistled dead as Kaiser punting for the first time today. Flag is down on the far side of the field
There's
at the
no
23.
play. The umpire was not in position when the ball was snapped.
So is the flag on the umpire?
It is. First penalty on the umpire. And a re-kick for Kaiser. Crowder is the return man. He's had some problems. Muff punts. Crowder normally sure-handed, but it's been an issue for him. His averages is 5.1 yards per return this season. Big kick. Kaiser sending Crowder all the way back to the 15. Spins, trying to get to the outside. And he's tackled short of the 20-yard line. 63-yard kick. Eckler makes the play on special teams, a flag down. Penalty marker back at the 23.
During the kick, holding number 40 of the return team. Half the distance to the goal. First down, timeout.
Josh Harvey Clemens called on the penalty, so Washington retreating, trailing 23-6.
The NFL on CBS is sponsored by Southwest Airlines. Low fares, no hidden fees. That's transparency. Haynes with Fresh IQ Advanced Odor Protection Technology. And by Geico. 15 minutes could save you 15% or more on car insurance.
It just gave us an excuse to show the evolution chart from beardless to beard. Dan Fouts.
To graybeard. Yes, thank you very much.
Redskins trailing 23-6. Handoff to P. Ryan, and he's spun down. So you played in the NFL without a beard.
We don't really need to go back here. By the way, this is Johnny Unitas right here. And
Wow.
this is George Dixon, our running back coach. Johnny, you wondering what the heck are you thinking?
Was Johnny Unitas allowed to talk to you at that point or no?
I snuck it in every once in a while.
Do you aspire to this one day?
My wife would leave me. She might leave me anyway.
2nd and 9. Cousins uncorks it to the outside, and Pirine is driven backwards by feisty Desmond King.
Desmond King has been a real pleasant surprise for the Chargers. 5th-round pick. And he has 3 sacks on the season. Gus Bradley likes the way he can bring him off the corner out of the slot. And he could have had a couple more.
Jim Thorpe Award winner in 2015 out of Iowa. 3rd and long for Washington. A jump. Bosa was looking for an edge. Who's it against? Over here.
Neutral zone infraction. Defense, number 99. 5-yard penalty. It's still 3rd down.
It is Bosa.
And with that call, Jeff Triplett just qualified for a SAG-AFTRA card for the season.
He's in the union. Joey Bosa called on the penalty, sets up 3rd and 3.
Well, Bosa and Ingram got to be a little bit frustrated. No sacks for either of them.
And no sacks as a team for Los Angeles. Came in 4th in the NFL with 35 behind Jacksonville, Pittsburgh, and the Rams. Cousins avoids trouble. Cousins gets rid of it. Incomplete. Josh Doxson trying a one-handed snag. Melvin Ingram put the heat on Cousins.
I'm not sure what Doxson's thinking here. Going to go up with one hand? Tremendous leaper and the ability to make that catch. Time running out as Ingram will punish Cousins on the back end of that play.
Tressway punting it. Travis Benjamin standing at his own 38-yard line. A wobbler. Benjamin, fair catch. Good hands at the 46. He's out of bounds, a 39-yard kick. Chargers have outstanding field position. They lead it 23-6 over the Redskins here in the 3rd. Phillip Rivers, 16 of 26 for 263 yards, 2 touchdowns. He's been sacked twice. Cousins has been held in check, 9 of 17 for 113, a touchdown and a pick. Chargers take over at their own 45-yard line. Hand off to Gordon. Nice spin move as he's hit by Josh Norman on the play. Picks up 4 yards. Tonight, he has one of the most dangerous occupations in the world, running for president against Vladimir Putin. Plus, one of Hollywood's most famous leading men talks about not fitting in. That's tonight on 60 Minutes, only CBS. 2nd and 6 here for L.A. Top 10 in total offense, number 9 in the NFL. The scoring numbers not where they'd like them to be. 17th in the league. That has a lot to do with the early season struggles. Flea flicker. Rivers. Deep ball. Keenan Allen. He's got it. Allen is down at the 1. They keep dialing it up. And they keep converting. 51 yards.
Well, a good job of just coasting through the secondary and then getting behind Norman and Swearinger. How about that adjustment to the ball, running full speed and quickly to the line of scrimmage. And the umpire is trying to stop the play.
Rivers pleading his case as Reuben Fowler got in there. It was umpire participation.
Well, the Chargers substituted, and the Redskins have the ability, chance
no play
to
There
substitute.
was some on the previous play, and the umpire was over the ball.
I'm sure that explanation, but look at this concentration.
We asked Rivers about Allen. He said he's just become a real pro. There's a maturity now. He was really good as a rookie. He's had to learn how to adjust when you're getting the number one corner on you, and his commitment level is just off the charts. They're using him all over the field. First and goal. Gordon plows in for the touchdown. The Chargers in complete control. One of the hottest teams in the NFL. And Los Angeles is living up to the billing today.
And they're doing it on both sides of the ball, offensively and defensively. It's just power football here. Okung with a good block. Look as he just clears the way there for Gordon. 76 is Russell Okung working on vigil. And it's no contest. Rookie Dan Feeney next to him, doing a good job as well.
Extra point. Coons curls it through. Allen, the concentration, the catch, and then the touchdown for Gordon. Chargers 30, Washington 6. Third quarter action continues from Carson, California. 3 plays, 55 yards. Gordon caps it off with a 1-yard touchdown run. And it's all smiles right now for the Chargers. That's 4 straight games they've gone over 400 yards of offense. They're at 429. And for the 7th time this year, the Redskins have given up 30 or more points. Kickoff by Coons. Return man is Niles Paul. It's rare you see a tight end that's returning kicks just short of the 20-yard line.
Go back to the flea flicker. And the purpose of this, and then the pitch back, is to affect the safety Swearinger. Watch Swearinger, sees the handoff. He comes up, and that's all Allen needs. He blows by both Norman and Swearinger and makes a sensational catch over the shoulder.
So Allen's had a stretch, 3 straight games of 10 catches, 100+ yards, and a touchdown. First player ever to achieve that. He's got 7 catches, 118 yards, but no touchdowns today. Washington in a big hole. Pirine trying to get to the outside and picks up a yard. NFL Today update. Send it to New York. JB, Coach Cowher.
Jacksonville's offense contributed.
Yeah, A.J. Boyer's interception of Russell Wilson sets up this touchdown pass from Blake Bortles, 18 yards to D.D. Westbrook. It's Westbrook's first NFL touchdown. Jacksonville leads 10-0.
Iron Eagle, Dan Fouts, and Evan Washburn.
Boy, that would be huge for Jacksonville. A litmus test game for the Jaguars at 8-4, battling for the division lead in the South with Tennessee. 2nd and 9 for the Redskins. We're down to 5:26 to go in the third. Cousins in the pocket, hooks a pass underneath. Pirine bounces off the contact. And Pirine picks up extra yards after the catch. Perriman with the tackle, and Perriman is down. 6-yard gain through the air.
Well, Perriman is going to come in for the tackle, and he goes head right to the shoulder. But that's the power of Pirine.
Oh, he got up and then took another shot. So here's the initial play, but Perriman wasn't done. Perriman kept on running, and here at the end of this tackle, watch, bang. Friendly fire from Desmond King. Perriman's up. And he will jog off.
You see that type of hit, you think of concussion, obviously, but also sometimes a player will get a stinger, which is like an electric bolt down one of your arms. And apparently Bouncing off the field is an excellent sign.
Now, they played without Perriman for the first 8 weeks of the season. But he is a thumper for this LA defense. Cousins has connected on just 3 of his last 9 passes. Daniels is in there for Washington with the injury to Byron Marshall. Cousins on 3rd and 3. Pats the ball and throws it deep. Going down is Doxson with no flag. Casey Hayward in coverage.
Well, Hayward is one of the best in the entire league. But their feet are going to get tangled up here. No call and no penalty.
Doxson made his case.
And so did Hayward.
Travis Benjamin, the return man Tress Way, will punt it for Washington. Still 4:44 to play in the 3rd quarter. Busy day for Way. Benjamin doesn't move up to get it, and it didn't matter. The ball's out of bounds. They're going to mark it out just across the 40-yard line, a 32-yard punt. Next week, AFC supremacy is on the line. Tom Brady and the Patriots visit Ben Roethlisberger and the Steelers right here on CBS. Brady putting up MVP-like numbers. Roethlisberger, not the numbers that we've seen in the last couple of years. This Pittsburgh offense not quite as high-powered as expected, but they're finding ways to win. A lot of come-from-behind victories.
Close wins. Le'Veon Bell and Antonio Brown's 2 of the most dangerous at their positions.
Shouldn't Brown be in the MVP discussion?
He could be the first wide receiver to ever win the MVP.
Melvin Gordon, single setback. They'll throw it. Rivers. A rainbow is too high for Keenan Allen, and a flag is down at the 33-yard line.
Holding, number 76, offense. 10-yard penalty, still first down.
It is Okung, the number 6 pick in the 2010 draft. Played with Seattle, then with Denver.
Playing hurt today, too. Remember, he was injured earlier in the game. His right knee had to be checked out. So many of these guys are playing hurt, obviously, at this point of the season.
The Chargers are the first team since the 2004 Buffalo Bills to start the season 0-4 and then go 6-2 over their next 8 games. Chance to make it 7-2 over a 9-game span if this holds up. They've got a big lead, 30-6. Rivers, play fake. He leads Gordon. Gordon is out of bounds. Across the 35-yard line. So pitch and catch for 7. Zach Vigil veers over to make the play for Washington.
Really good example of perfect ball placement for a receiver, especially a running back coming out of the backfield running full speed. Rivers puts it in an area where Gordon can maintain that full speed, get as much as he can out of it.
Rivers gave a lot of credit to his offensive line in our conversation with him. The sack pace is down, the hit pace is down, with Slauson going out, but he mentioned that Slauson had mentored Dan Feeney. So Feeney was ready, stepped in, and he's played at a high level. Another penalty.
False start, number 72, offense. 5-yard penalty, still second down.
And it's the veteran Barksdale on the other side, the right side of the offensive line.
And with this big lead, you can expect some lack of concentration here. That was a pretty good example of it with Barksdale moving early.
Clock is rolling. We're down to 3:40 to play in the 3rd. Big numbers for the Chargers. 2 100-yard receivers. Tyrell Williams and Keenan Allen. Gordon has a touchdown on the ground, 52 yards rushing. Play action. Rivers knocked away by Everett. Hunter Henry, the intended target. No Monte Nicholson, who continues to be inactive with a concussion, so Everett's seen extended playing time.
Tremendous timing and effort by Everett. Looked like there's going to be a reception. Watch the right hand come right down on the ball and knock it out.
Sets up.
Absolutely perfect.
3rd and 20 now at the 31. They go with a running play. Gordon He won't go down on initial contact, but not going to get much. Zach Brown involved for Washington. 2-yard pickup, and the Chargers will punt.
It's amazing to me sometimes you see these running backs take that type of punishment and they don't get up and want to fight somebody. You know,
I think it's part of the job.
it's unbelievable the toughness it takes to play running back in the NFL and the control.
It is Drew Kaiser, the second-year punter from Texas A&M, kicking to Jamison Crowder. This ball doesn't get to Crowder until it rolls. Picked up at the 20, and he's out of bounds. 47-yard punt, a 3-yard return. There's always chatter about Kirk Cousins and his future. I'll take you back. 2012, he was the 4th-round pick out of Michigan State. As a rookie, he got a win in his only start. Then in 14, started 5 games. He was benched in favor of Colt McCoy. 15, that's when Cousins started to come into his own. NFC East title, signed the 1-year contract last year, made the first Pro Bowl of his career, then franchise tag. First player to get the designation 2 years in a row, and it could be 3 in a row for Kirk Cousins.
Well, he has not been the problem. It's injuries that have been the problem for the Redskins.
Cousins in and out of the hands of Vernon Davis with Desmond King there, and Cousins now 50% completion rate, 10 of 20. Here's Evan Washburn.
And Dan, along those lines, that's something that was interesting. We spoke with Jay Gruden yesterday about the injuries and how that affects the evaluation process for Kirk Cousins going forward. And he said he doesn't skew it at all in terms of how they look at him. Tom Brady's dealt with injuries. He's got to find a way. An interesting point from his head coach, despite what he's been through, especially across the line.
Yeah, it's part of the deal. But I can guarantee you other teams around the NFL are evaluating Kirk Cousins when they have to make a decision on a big-ticket free agent. Washington knows him best. They've seen him from day one. We asked Gruden, as Evan mentioned, about Cousins. He said, look, he's still developing. We've had a hodgepodge on the offensive line. He doesn't really have his #1 target with Reed. He's very smart, detail-oriented. And the name of the game in this league is adjust to the people that you have around you. And that's what Cousins has been forced to do. Rush coming. Cousins! He's a dead duck. Desmond King. Chargers have the football. McCain came away with it. King with the sack.
We talked about Desmond King and his ability to get pressure and sacks on the quarterback. The rookie now has 4 sacks on the season. Right side of the screen, totally unblocked. Cousins sees him, but it's way too late.
Cousins was ruled down. The ball did pop free as he hit the ground. McCain and Morgan Moses then exchanged pleasantries, and the red flag has been tossed by Anthony Lynn. He wants them to look at it.
Anthony Lynn had a 40-yard dash there to get that flag out and the attention of the officials that he threw it.
Lynn is a former All-Southwest Conference running back from Texas Tech. Played with the Denver Broncos and the San Francisco 49ers.
It looked like the left knee was down, but what we don't know is when was the whistle blown. Normally they will blow the whistle early when it's a quarterback being sacked, as Cousins is here.
Ingram got the hand in and tried to flick it out. And McCain just happened to be in the right spot.
Well, Ingram has forced 12 fumbles in his career.
There will be no review. As ruling on the field was the runner was held and in forward progress stopped. It'll be 4th down.
I don't think it would have mattered because that left knee was down. Play was whistle dead. So no review here. And with a minute 12 to go, Washington will punt here in the 3rd.
Not many answers on that Jay Gruden play chart either, is there?
Your Cousins gave a lot of credit to the coaches for game planning and creating ways to move the football, even with all the injuries. Benjamin spins, and he is out of bounds with a flag thrown. A couple of them, 3 of them.
Yeah, they're going to get Austin Eckler for a block in the back.
And somebody lost their helmet on the play. It was Chris Carter, backup linebacker.
Well, Carter needs a fall guy.
Really? It's another Chris Carter. Oh, different one.
Needs a better chin strap.
That's true. 57 seconds remaining here in the third. A long discussion. Jeff Triplett ready to deliver the news. Very soon.
There are 2 fouls on the play. Illegal blocking the back, number 30 of the return team. That penalty is declined. Personal foul, face mask, number 56 of the return team. That penalty is accepted as the foul occurred during the kick. Half the distance to the goal, first down.
That's Corey Toomer. NFL Today update. We head to New York. JB and the coach.
10 points in 55 seconds.
Yeah, after the field goal, Jacksonville fumbles the ensuing kickoff. That leads to this Russell Wilson to Doug Baldwin 26-yard touchdown, and suddenly that 10-0 game is all knotted at 10-10.
Back to Ian Eagle and Dan Fouts.
Yeah, you don't give Russell Wilson an inch. We'll take advantage of it. 8-4, the Seahawks, undefeated in their division, but trailing the Rams by 1 game in the NFC West. Under a minute to play here in the third quarter. Running play to Gordon, finds a lane and takes it to the 20. He didn't believe he was down, and now the whistle blows and a flag comes down to Shazer Everett in on the stop.
Personal foul, unnecessary roughness, number 90 of the defense. The 15-yard penalty added to the end of the play, automatic first down.
It is Ziggy Hood who would like an explanation. Thursday, Denver takes on Indianapolis. Thursday Night Football on NFL Network, NBC, and streaming live on Amazon Prime Video. Line of scrimmage is now the 36-yard line. Jay Gruden's team 4 penalties costing them 48 yards. Time winding down here at the end of the third. Chargers will have a chance to crack 500 yards of offense today. Stutter step move by Gordon, falls forward to the 39. Brought down by Anthony Lanier, and that should be the final play of the quarter.
Positive sign for the Chargers. Number 81 in the ball game, Mike Williams, who has had an injury-filled season his rookie year. Number 1 pick at battling knee injuries, but back and playing.
End of 3. We'll come back to LA after this message and a word from your local station. This is the NFL on CBS. 30-6, the Chargers on top of the Washington Redskins. Spanos family that owns the Chargers has seen a complete turnaround from the 0-4 start and an opportunity to make a real push for the playoffs here. Pretty amazing considering where they were. Rivers throws it on 2nd and 7, tipped up in the air and incomplete. He was trying to hit Travis Benjamin. Josh Norman was all over it, and Rivers took a hit from Junior Gillette.
And he's hanging on to it as long as he possibly can. There's the shot and the spin down by Gillette. This would have been an interesting race here if Norman makes this catch down the sidelines. Could he beat Travis Benjamin to the end zone? We'll never know.
Instead, it's a 3rd and 7. Eckler lines up as a receiver. Rivers underneath, drop ball by Benjamin. Just didn't see it into his chest.
Well, this is what we talked about earlier, lack of concentration. Barksdale jumping off sides, and now Benjamin with an easy completion and perhaps a first down with his speed. Ball go right through his hands.
So it's Drew Kaiser punting once again for LA. And Jamison Crowder standing at his own 16-yard line. Not much of a rush. And a good kick from Kaiser. Crowder sidesteps a tackler. Crowder is dropped as he crossed the 20-yard line. Sean McGrath on special teams after the 10-yard return. Coming up after the game, time permitting, it's the State Farm postgame show. JB, Phil, Nate, Boomer, Coach Cower, the latest NFL scores and highlights, all coming up on the State Farm postgame show. Kirk Cousins and the Redskins, 166 total yards today of offense. This was coming off a performance where they had just 280 against the Cowboys in a 38-14 loss in Jerry's world.
Well, this type of deficit, they just got to get after it. Start throwing the ball.
Cousins throws it. It's complete to Doxson. He's got a first down to the 35-yard line. That covers 13 yards. Desmond King and Casey Hayward there for LA.
Yeah, right to the line of scrimmage now. Let's keep this mini momentum going after the completion to Doxson.
3 catches, 34 yards for Doxson. That's 8 first downs now compared to 22 for LA. Cousins gets rid of it quickly. Nice snag by Crowder. 5-yard pickup by Jamison Crowder. Defended by Desmond King.
Yeah, just his second catch. Remember, Crowder came in with 51. Working out of the slot again.
They had Deshaun Jackson. They had Pierre Garçon. Cousins. He feeds it to Brian Quick. Only the 5th catch of the season for Quick. It covers 7 yards and a first down. We asked Jamison Crowder about losing those 2 guys. He said, yeah, I did learn a lot from them, just observing them, how they went about their business. You pick things up, watching them in practice, watching them in pregame, how they prepare. And it's been different without them, but he feels like this is a good group of receivers. Set it up for Pirine, and it's blown up. Adrian Phillips helps make sure that Pirine was not going to break away for extra yards. It's a loss of 4.
Yeah, Phillips was lined up right on the line of scrimmage. And as this ball is caught by Pirine, watch him come in and just drill Pirine in the thighs. And then he's going to pound his chest. Why not?
Phillips had an interception last week in the win over Cleveland. Jaleel Adai actually leads the team in tackles this season. 2nd and 14. Cousins. Devoured. Cousins down. Legion and Ingram.
Well, Legion's 94, Ingram 54, working in tandem on the right side. Quancho having trouble staying with Legion, and he's going to drop Cousins.
Yeah, Pirine is over on the Washington sideline. He's up on his feet. LaShawn Daniels in there. Cousins gets rid of it quickly. Set up a wide receiver screen for Crowder. And he's chopped down at the 45 by Trey Boston. They pick up 11. It's now 4th down. Cousins was waiting to see whether or not Jay Gruden was going to send Tress Way out, and he will. Pirine getting some oxygen. 17 carries, 45 yards for Pirine, 4 catches for 7 yards, and took a big shot after that last catch. High punt from Way. Benjamin ranges over, then gets out of the way. It's out of bounds. Bounces out at the 28. That's where the Chargers will have it. Got a big lead here in the 4th. End zone, touchdown, Vernon Davis. Redskins are on the board. Rivers working out of the gun. Fires, complete. Tyrell Williams. Williams has got the angle. He's gone. Touchdown, Chargers. Well, for Phillip Rivers, his day is done. 18 of 31, 319 yards, 2 touchdowns. Rivers and the Chargers up 30-6. So Kellen Clemens, the 12-year veteran, steps in. Another one of those ducks around the NFL. Oregon product.
Burns, Oregon. You've got to be going to Burns, Oregon. You can't pass through it.
He's got a cattle ranching background, doesn't he?
Yeah, big long-time family there.
Clemens hands it to Gordon, who runs in to a number of defenders and held for no gain, including A.J. Francis. 11 minutes to play here in the fourth quarter. And the Chargers, they are on cruise control right now. Not just today, but in general.
Well, you know, early in the season, if they had had better field goal kicking, they might have won a couple of ball games.
They've actually had 4 different kickers attempt kicks this season because they have to throw Kaiser in there as well.
Younghoe Koo had struggles. Novak got hurt.
Now it's Coons. Handoff, Gordon. Good cut by Gordon. And finally goes down short of the first down, but sets up 3rd and short as Martell Spate and DeShazer Everett were there.
Joe Barksdale's been slow getting up off the ground, number 72, the last couple of plays. But Gordon scratching out yards there. I think Anthony Lynn might think about is getting him out of the game as well to join Rivers on the sidelines. Huge game coming up next week for Los Angeles.
You know, we've given credit to this coaching staff for remaining positive and optimistic even after the 0-4 start. 3rd and 1. Clemens will give it to Derek Watt. And Watt will have enough. Let's check it with Evan Washburn.
Well, as you guys touch on health, and we've talked about it a bunch today in terms of the Redskins, but remember last year, the San Diego Chargers were one of the most beat-up teams in the history of the NFL, and that was something that came up in Anthony Lynn's interview with this organization. How is he going to change things? Now, some of things are just bad luck, but Lynn feels like the commitment they've had in their strength and conditioning program, their nutrition, the pre-injury stuff has really had an effect, mostly, guys, because the team and the players have bought in.
Yeah, just to add to that, first down for the Chargers, when we asked Lynn about the struggle and how he kept his team energetic, he said that he learned about the mental part of the game during his time in Jacksonville. They had a sports psychologist, and it really resonated with Anthony Lynn, and it brought him back to his playing days and the tools that he needed to succeed, and that's what he tries to impart on his players. You know, the other point, in addition to the coaching staff, give credit to Tom Telesco, the GM. The personnel is very good. 5th year with the Chargers, his 23rd year overall, and he's put together an outstanding roster. They are feared because of the bookend pass rushers, and then offensively, Phillip Rivers has the perfect complement of weapons. Gordon trying to cut to the outside. He was hit down low and could not break away from Ryan Anderson.
And it takes time to develop depth. You can't do it overnight. And that's really one of the benefits of having a team that has had injuries, is you get guys playing perhaps and getting experience earlier than they would expect to because of having to fill in.
Well, they lost a starting corner in Jason Verrett. Trevor Williams steps in, unheralded, undrafted free agent that was on the practice squad out of Penn State, and he's become a fixture. And that plays to the depth comment that the Chargers have. 3rd and 5. Clemens, sideline throw is offline to Mike Williams. They toss that into the mix as well. Williams was the 7th overall pick. Normally, the number 7 pick has to come in and contribute for you. There's a reason why they went that high, but the injuries for Williams never has been able to get into a flow with his team. He has 9 catches for 84 yards, but the Chargers have not needed him necessarily on offense. He would just be a bonus the rest of the way if he can truly contribute.
Well, with the way that Tyrell Williams and Keenan Allen played today, both over 100 yards, and it's a luxury to have a player such as Williams that you can bring along slowly and make sure he's healthy.
Touchback from Kaiser. We got 7:20 to play here at the StubHub Center. Redskins, 244 total yards, week 9 against Seattle. That was their lowest total in a game this season. They're at 189 right now. It's a running play, and it's Daniels getting the call as their depth is being tested to the limits. 5-yard pickup for Daniels. Brought down by Palapoi. Coming up after the game, time permitting, State Farm postgame show. JB, Phil, Nate, Boomer, Coach Cower, the latest NFL scores and highlights coming up on the State Farm postgame show. From the gun, 2nd and 5. Cousins, it's incomplete. Lunging attempt at an interception. Brian Quick might have thrown him off a bit.
I think the ball was deflected by Damian Square.
So it'll be 3rd and 5 here for Washington, with 6:53 remaining here in the 4th.
Yes. Yep, just got a couple of fingers on it.
Third and 5. Rush coming. Cousins unloads. Low throw. It's incomplete. Jamison Crowder, he trapped it. Yep. Tress Way to punt it. And Washington's day has been rough on both sides of the ball. 8th punt of the day for Way. Benjamin standing at the 30. That one sails to the 27. Benjamin, nice jab step. Oh, Benjamin's got room. Way trying to cut him off. He will not. Benjamin spins away and he's dropped inside the 30. Quentin Dunbar makes the play on special teams. A 47-yard return for Travis Benjamin.
A tremendous move by Benjamin. He was going to go wide. He faked up the middle. That brought Chris Carter, 55. Just fakes him out right there. Then it's all speed.
And you mentioned Carter. He is the injured Redskin on the play, all the way back at the 34-yard line. They are tending to Carter. 6:29 remaining here in the 4th. Chris Carter of the Redskins being carted off here in Carson, with the Chargers leading at 30-6. Long return by the Belglade Blur, Travis Benjamin. And it sets up the Chargers with a 1st and 10 at the Washington 27. Kellen Clemens in at quarterback, replacing Phillip Rivers. A lot of window dressing right now as Andre Williams is the tailback. Williams gets the call. As he hits the 25-yard line, he's tackled there. Send it down to Evan Washburn.
Well, guys, as has been the storyline all season long, injuries piling up for the Redskins now. Samaje Perine is questionable with a stomach ailment. Trent Williams is out, it looks like, nursing that right knee with what the score is. And then obviously Carter just heading in as well. Some shifting across the offensive line, trying to keep this group as healthy as they can. But again, injuries piling up for Washington.
Yeah, that's been part of their unfortunate MO this entire season. 2nd and 8 for LA. Williams brought down by his ankles. 4.5-yard gain. Stacy McGee will get credit for the stop. Clock is moving. We're down to 5.5 to play here in the 4th. Schedule coming up for the Chargers: at Kansas City, at the Jets, home for Oakland. So 2 games in the division. The long trip east to meet the Jets, who have struggled today against the Denver Broncos.
And they'll have a short week playing on Saturday night against the Chiefs next week.
Clemens, he's on time to Mike Williams. The Jets actually did the Chargers a favor with that victory over the Chiefs last week. It's a final. Denver has defeated New York. And that final game against Oakland, that could be potentially for the Chargers. Division title on the line, playoff spot on the line.
Yeah, it certainly appeared that the Chiefs have righted their ship with their win today over Oakland.
Yeah, the concerns last week against the Jets were defensive oriented. Alex Smith And the Chiefs put up big offensive numbers. Andre Williams rumbling for 5. And who knows, you get the win if you're Kansas City, and maybe it gets you back on track, and the muscle memory of winning comes back to you. For Jay Gruden and the Redskins, it's going to be 5-8. Losses in 4 of their last 5 games. Evan mentioned the evaluation process of Kirk Cousins, but there's an evaluation process going on throughout the organization.
Yeah, I'm not so sure I understand the evaluation process for Cousins. They know what they have there. They know they've got a quarterback that's capable. And who would you rather have at this point?
Williams inside the 10.
That you can get. They don't grow on trees.
No, they don't. It's been a really interesting dynamic between the organization and Cousins. Cousins, hard worker, well liked. Washington has not pulled the trigger on the long-term deal. And while Kirk has been making a lot of money, it's just the other part of the equation. The commitment part has not been there. But every year they franchise him, he's getting guaranteed pay. Clemens sets and throws, and it's intercepted. Bashaud Breeland. Breeland, nobody near him. And Breeland waltzes into the end zone for a touchdown. 96 yards.
That's his first career interception for a touchdown. Ball thrown really too high for Mike Williams. Tried to stop it with one hand and actually deflected it right to the belly of Breeland, and it's all over here.
Really the only major mistake made today by the Chargers. And it was Mike Williams trying to keep the play alive with a one-handed attempt. First giveaway for Los Angeles since week 10. That snapped the longest streak in franchise history, which they tied. Extra point from Nick Rose. 2:36 to go here in the 4th. Tonight on CBS begins with 60 Minutes and the man brave enough to challenge Vladimir Putin, followed by new episodes of Wisdom of the Crowd, NCIS Los Angeles, and Madam Secretary. That's tonight, only CBS. So Breeland, the corner out of Clemson, former high school quarterback who also ran track. Takes it back for a touchdown. That one goes on Kellen Clemens' record, but if the ball just continued to sail on Williams, it's incomplete. And that's how the cookie crumbles sometimes.
Yeah, and he got what he wanted, the man-to-man coverage on the outside, but there was some pressure that time. Swearinger coming on the safety blitz. They have hurried up Clemens more than he wanted to, and he just sailed it high.
Just some other notes. The Chargers still have not allowed a 100-yard receiver this season. Only team in the NFL that can say that. Doxson and Crowder tied for the team lead today with 34 yards receiving. Going down is Desmond King at the 22, and that's where the Chargers will have it with 2:31 to play. Just trying to wind this clock down and get out of here. NFC playoff picture. Philadelphia at 10-2. They've got a 3-point lead against the Rams right now. Minnesota 10-3, the loss to Carolina, and the Panthers now 9-4. New Orleans trying to hold on in the division, and Atlanta very much in the mix with their huge victory over the Saints on Thursday night. Seattle is down to Jacksonville in the 4th quarter.
Philly bouncing back after losing to Seattle last week on the West Coast. Stayed on the West Coast. Paid off.
Andre Williams still in there, and he's drilled behind the line of scrimmage by Lanier and McGee. We'll hit the 2-minute warning here. And the Chargers 2 minutes away from improving to 7-6. From 0-4 to where they are today. Quite a story in Los Angeles. It's 30-13 Chargers. For those of you expecting to see 60 Minutes, you're watching the NFL on CBS. The game between the Washington Redskins and the Los Angeles Chargers. Ian Eagle along with Dan Fouts and Evan Washburn. Our score, Chargers 30, Redskins 13. 60 Minutes will be seen in its entirety immediately following this game, except on the West Coast. Andre Williams getting the call here in the fourth quarter. Picks up 6 yards, 1:47 to play. And it's 3rd and 5 now. The holidays just around the corner, and I think Charger fans are getting everything on their wish list right now.
Number 19 there, worn by 2 Hall of Famers for the Chargers. Bambi, Lance Allworth, and Johnny Unitas for a short 1 year.
I'm going to say that was an Allworth jersey, though.
You think so?
I think so, yeah.
I'd give it to Lance.
You know, yeah, special edition Johnny U.
I think Johnny U took his with him.
You might be right. It was not an enjoyable year for Johnny Unitas, was it?
Well, I had a good time with him.
You did. You enjoyed it.
He was quite the mentor.
He enjoyed his paycheck.
He was the highest paid player in the history of the league in 1973.
What was the number?
$250,000, not $250 million.
$250 grand, which is an outstanding salary, especially that year. But that was the high point.
That wouldn't be a bad salary this year, too,
absolutely.
for some folks.
No doubt about it. But in NFL terms, it puts it in perspective.
It took him a long time to get to that, too, and he deserved a lot more, a lot earlier in his 18-year career.
Final 32 seconds here. Kaiser to punt it. Spiraling kick, sending Crowder all the way back. Fair catch called for. And it's spotted at the 18-yard line after the 52-yard kick. Final 25 seconds. Let's update the playoff picture for you. The Chargers at 7-6, same record as Kansas City. Those two will meet on Saturday night. Tennessee 8-5 now, with Jacksonville at 8-4. And it looks like the Jaguars are on the brink of getting it done to take a 1-game lead.
And they have an interesting final game of the year when Jacksonville will go to Nashville and play the Titans.
Handed off to Daniels, and he's wrapped up, thrown down at the 26-yard line, and that's it. The Chargers are rolling. LA over the 500 mark with a win over the Redskins. They are 7-6 on the season after an 0-4 start. What a turnaround. Final score, the Chargers 30, Washington 13. Tonight on CBS begins with 60 Minutes, followed by new episodes of Wisdom of the Crowd, NCIS Los Angeles, and Madam Secretary. So for Dan Fouts, Evan Washburn, our entire crew, Ian Eagle saying so long from LA. You've been watching the NFL on CBS. Have a great night, everybody.